Hey, it's Jeff Zito, and thanks for checking out yet another episode of the Celebrity Jobber podcast, streaming on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you listen to podcasts, we're there. And consistently in the top 10 of the Apple Podcast music interviews chart. So thank you so much for listening. You can hear all our past guests and episodes online if you go to celebrityjobber.com. And you can also follow on Instagram at celebrity_jobber_podcast or youtube.com/the@celebrityjobber. And please subscribe to the Substack page for bonus content. So that would be substack.com/celebrityjobber. It's like a big break is the catalyst to stardom for a lot of celebrities. What happened before fame with these people? Some may have been in another career entirely, and then boom, that magical thing happens to where they're famous. So we take a little bit of a deep dive into who these people were before fame. Find out what the big break was, of course, the first job or jobs. My guest today is very interesting because she was married to probably one of the most mysterious people that ever walked the planet Earth, and a musical genius as far as I'm concerned. Mayte Garcia was the wife of the legendary artist known as Prince. We just passed the 10th anniversary of Prince's passing. And I want to share a post that showed up on my Facebook memories a couple of days ago. I wrote, I first discovered Prince back in 1982 when the album 1999 came out. I recorded the double album onto cassette and then played it one day in my mother's car. She freaked out when she heard the song Let's Pretend We're Married. She couldn't believe her then 7-year-old son, me, was listening to music with such explicit lyrics. And when the movie Purple Rain came out, she refused to take me, but I convinced my older sister to take me under one condition. I closed my eyes during the nudity and the sex scenes, which, looking back, really weren't that bad at all. I still know every word to every song on that Purple Rain album, and one of my all-time favorites to this very day, R.I.P., rest in peace, Prince Rogers Nelson. That was back on April 21st of 2016, I believe the day that Prince passed away, 10 years ago, the anniversary. Who was this guy? Very mysterious. We'll find out as we're about to talk to the closest person in his life. She was a member of Prince's New Power generation and his wife. Mayte Garcia is my guest this week on Celebrity Jobber.
The Celebrity Jobber podcast with Jeff Zito. If you like what you hear, please subscribe, give a 5-star rating, and leave a review. Check out all our past episodes on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you pod. What if these celebrities weren't famous? What would they have become? What was their first job? We're about to find out.
Well, good morning, Mayte.
Hi, Jeff.
The most beautiful girl in the world. This is pretty crazy to have a song like that named after you. Do you agree? Does it get old or no?
It never gets old, but getting up at 6 a.m. and being camera ready is definitely getting old.
I feel you. Great talking to you today.
Likewise.
Such a huge fan of Prince. I got to just lay that out there first and foremost. I know about a lot of the charities, and I wanted to talk to you about the charities, but if you don't mind, take me all the way back. You're 16 years old, and you meet Prince for the first time. As an adult, I think that would be kind of a very nervous experience. As a kid, it had to be really nervous for you.
Yeah, I mean, but it happened so fast, and it just when things are right, it just was meant to be. Right. It was like I gave the tape, I met him, we became friends, and then I would send my work. I was a working dancer in Germany. I was professional, and I had a lot of gigs, and it just. And then I started working with him. It just meshed. It's hard to think of it, but I guess sometimes when things are meant to be, it happens. So
sure. So yeah. Tell me a little bit about Germany. So you were born in the States, but your dad was in the military, And
Yeah.
you lived in Germany, graduated from high school in Germany. So you lived there your entire life?
No, no. Army normally tours, that's what they call them, where they have to go overseas. It's with the family, I think it's 3 to 4 years. But if you go by yourself without the family, you have to do, overseas for like a year. This is back in the day. I don't know what the requirements are now, but he wanted the family. So we went to Germany and we were there for 2 tours. He got somebody to swap with him because he was supposed to go back to like Alabama or something. And he flew to DC, and he got this guy to swap with him. So we got to stay extra in Germany. I was born in Alabama, and we did North Carolina, Fort Bragg. We did Fort Bragg. And then Germany. Yeah. Oh, because I was too young to remember what other bases we were at. But I remember North Carolina and Germany. And I remember I hated it because, I mean, now it's must be much easier for kids overseas because there's internet and stuff like that. But we had one radio channel, one TV channel. There was no internet. We get one movie every 30 days. So,
Wow.
it was, I mean, but I branched out and I learned the German language, and I just didn't stay up in our base. I got out and just kind of ventured out by myself.
So mom was a professional dancer when she was younger, and then she got you interested at a young age?
No,
No?
no, my mother wanted to be a dancer, but the family was not supportive. So when I was born, my mom bribed me. I mean, I loved lip gloss and I would do anything for lip gloss. So she's like, you can wear lip gloss if you dance. I was like, "Oh, I'm doing it." I don't
Right.
know why, but I was obsessed with lip gloss. And yeah, I mean, I became a professional dancer not on purpose. It just happened. I was on That's Incredible at 8, and I worked in the United States. But when I moved to Germany, that's when I really kicked the my business, which is dancing. I danced at restaurants, birthday parties, corporate events, you name it. I jumped out of a cake one time. It was. And my goal as a belly dancer, because that's what I was focusing on, was to dance in Cairo, in Egypt. And I had a contract.
The Celebrity Jobber Podcast with Jeff Zito. The Celebrity Jobber Podcast with Jeff Zito.
So is dancing your very first paycheck? Was that your very first job, or did you have like a normal job like us when we were kids, when you were younger, working at the mall? Or tell me about your very first job.
No, my first job was a belly dancer.
Really?
That's when I made my money belly dancing. Every weekend, Friday and Saturday, me and my dad, I had my restaurant, my birthday party, and then we had it mapped out. And it just, and I have friends my friend Allison, she worked as a bagger at the grocery store, and she restocked things, and she had that job and I had mine. And I used to help my grandmother. She worked at a souvenir shop in Puerto Rico
Right.
airport, and I used to cash people out and wrap the little things, the little souvenirs, and put them in the bag. But my real first job was belly dancing.
Well, what about, were you ever, or did your parents ever push you into like studying? Like, was college ever a part of your life, or was you were just working so much when you were, younger that
Yeah.
you didn't have time to think about it? It's like, hey, let's just keep doing this while we're young. We're making money. We're dancing. This is the dream. Let's figure it out now. Is that pretty much how you were looking at life back then?
Yeah, yeah, because things move so fast. I met Prince at 16. My goal was to do something with him because I could add that to my resume. Because my goal, I wanted to go to Alvin Ailey or Martha Graham in New York. I was thinking of that kind of lifestyle after I did my Cairo gig. But I mean, and now that I'm older, I wish I would have gone to college because I'd be a vet right now. I would completely be a veterinarian.
Really?
Yes, absolutely. I love animals. I have a nonprofit rescue, and I would have done that. But at the time, things were moving so fast, and I was like,
Yeah.
let's just keep it going. And I knew, a dancer's lifestyle, what is it? Longevity is not very long.
Sure.
Um,
I would
so
imagine.
yeah, I definitely
So
would have gone to school, but I didn't.
Well, yeah, and there was no reason to because you met Prince at 16, and then by 18, you're in the new power generation, right? So, I mean, like, if you wanted to be a dancer and that was where you are current, you are at the top of your profession, right? So, no need to think about anything else. You're there. So,
Yeah.
tell me, when you're alone with Prince, what did you call him? I mean, the guy is probably one of the most mysterious people in the world. And that's why everybody, I'm sure, wants to talk to you. Like, what's this guy like? What did he call you? What did you call him when nobody's around? You're on the couch, kicking back, watching TV, the normal Prince.
I mean, I never called him by his name. It was weird because I would see that as I had in my mind that was like Purple Rain guy. That was the character. I
Right.
saw him as a guy. Of course, he was a musician. He was a genius, but he was funny. He loved watching classic movies. He loved watching comedy. He was a basketball fan.
I heard.
Um, I mean, when you were with him, you didn't think that until you went to rehearsal, until you went to Paisley Park and got on stage with him. But as soon as he got out, it was fun.
He was
Really
normal.
funny. He was really
Really?
funny. Yeah. I mean, normal as much as you can, because I mean, I've seen a lot of celebrities, but there's that level of mystery that he kept where, I mean, I've had people scream at the top of their lungs at the airport to his face. You know, it's
Sure.
not it's not like that anymore. Now it's like, oh wow, it's so and so. Oh my God, hey. It's different because it's more accessible, I guess, maybe. I don't know.
I think he was
Um,
probably one of the last ones, though, for
yeah.
people to go crazy over
Yeah.
because of his personality and the mystique and everything. And I heard the stories about him playing basketball. And who did I just talk to? I just talked to one of his old producers, Jimmy Jam,
Uh-huh.
and he was telling me the stories. Like, the guy's 5'3", he could hoop like nobody's business.
He could play. He was
So
really good.
so, did he have friends? Was there friends? Not like, I'm not talking like ass kissers, those kind of. Did he have like real friends in his life?
His band was his,
His
his
band,
friends. Yeah.
family,
And me, I would call him out. I'd say things like, really, you can do that. I mean, it was never like, hey, this is, I would just jokingly or just repeat him and he'd go, yeah, that sounds stupid. Let me,
right?
you know, um, yeah, I mean, he had friends growing up. It was in kind of like life. Like you have your moments. I mean, he, like I have friends I haven't spoken to in a couple years, and then we reconnect, and then we start talking every day, and then life happens, and you know, um, but he had his friends. I think his band was his friends,
Right.
friend and Kirk. Kirk was a big friend of his, and yeah, me.
Of course. So you have moved on to become, not only a dancer, singer, actress. You've
Yeah.
done all these things now. So which one? Which one's your favorite? What do you like doing the most?
Well, at my age, I mean, I love dancing, and I always say that dancing heals the soul. I still belly dance. There's no limit. There's no restrictions to belly dancing. That's why I still teach class, and I always try to get people, they're in their 50s, 60s. I'm like, girl, life is not over. Let's keep it moving.
Right.
Maybe you can't do the step that you did back in the day, but let's do what feels good now. So I still do dancing. Acting's fun. Um, I don't like the what's the word? The business of it.
Yeah.
It's a little too much for me.
Right.
But I enjoyed playing roles that things that I would never say. I'm like, oh my God, I get to say this. And I'm
Right.
getting paid for it. But now for me is running these charities. I have Mayte Garcia's Rescue, which is a 501(c)(3) for animals. I rescue animals. And then the next is Live for Love. Live for Love charities. We have a lot of programs. We have Live for Music, which is we're helping kids. I mean, the teachers that are teaching these kids via Zoom is incredible. I mean, I have Grammy Award winners, people that played with Miles Davis. I mean, you name it. I have a great connection with musicians, and that they're willing to do it. And then now with Live for Dance, where we're gonna have our first one soon, and no, second one, but this one's gonna be really big. We're gonna have amazing teachers mentoring these kids. So
And Prince's has so many different charities, correct? Like I know there's Live for Love, there's Live for Dance. So
yeah.
tell me about the kind of charitable person Prince was. A very philanthropic guy, and your mission is to, kind of fulfill his dreams. Tell me what was he was a big fan of children and children's charities. Tell me a little bit about
Yeah.
him.
I mean, he just wanted to help. I mean, I would see him write a check all the time. He'd never get credit for it. I mean, Marva Collins, her school that was for children, a school that she had. I mean, I would just slowly see it. And then when we got married, he came into my office and he told me he wanted to start a nonprofit. And I was like, okay, how do we do that? I didn't know anything about it, and we just jumped in, but we were a private foundation. So if we needed to raise money, he'd go play. He's like, oh, let me go play real quick. I'll get that funded, and then, now that he passed, we are now a public charity. So we need to raise funds. And I mean, he helped hospitals, cancer centers, homeless people. I mean, band members and people just that if it touched him and he could help, he would, it's a long list. I can't even tell you. And I hope maybe it'll come out one day of all the things and people that he helped.
Wow.
And now it's continuing that legacy. And we have a Love and Action Award where we're helping people, nonprofits, people doing good. We're giving them $10,000 to do something. Slowly but surely we're growing, and we eventually want to have a building, a headquarters where we can bring people there. I mean, I'd love to. My vision is to take kids out of their element. There's a lot of kids that don't think they can go somewhere. So if we take them out of it and realize that they can, giving them that spark of hope is so important. So,
the Celebrity Jobber Podcast with Jeff Zito. Celebrity Jobber.
Prince's philanthropic legacy continues to inspire many. His contributions were very underreported, in my opinion. And through his charitable actions, Prince not only supported individual causes, but also encouraged a broader movement towards compassion and community engagement. What are Prince's charitable organizations, and how can people help and participate?
Donate would be great. We're a 501c3, and our charity is Live for Love Charities. 4 is the number 4, because as you guys know, Prince used the number 4 and 2.
Of course.
But if you Live for Love Charities, sorry, my daughter's getting up now to go to school.
So liveforlovecharities.org would be the way for people to go ahead and donate to all of these different charities. And
you could look at our website and see the stuff that we're doing, because everything is there. There's a lot of things that I want to do in the future to help. So,
Mayte, you are currently dealing with MS. Can you tell us a little bit about how you're doing and how you're feeling?
I got diagnosed over 14, 15 years ago. I was on medication, but I just kind of did a lifestyle change. I lived in Los Angeles for over 20, 25 years, and I moved to Vegas. I'm close enough, but not close enough to deal. Right. And it's crazy because now people are moving here from Los Angeles. So they're all coming here, but stress was a big thing for me. And I wanted to have an environment that was, of course, the dog's barking, but it's very, very zen here. I'm not on medication. I just take care. I eat very healthy. I grow my own vegetables. I'm just trying to live stress-free. I think that's a big factor for MS is the stress. So if you can't get out of your element, create an element that is peaceful. And I haven't had any symptoms, knock on wood, and It's good. It's great.
Right. I was going to ask you, is there something you can tell us, because Prince is so mysterious and everybody always wanted to get inside? Is there a moment? Is there something you can tell us that maybe was something personal between you? Maybe you haven't thought about in a while. You haven't told people in a while. Just something that maybe could explain the guy a little bit more. You said he was funny. He liked old movies. He was a regular guy outside of Prince. You didn't call him Prince.
No.
That was I thought that was interesting. But is there something, a situation, something that you could tell us that could give us an inside peek at what he was really like?
I mean, it's funny because I used to shop for him, and I loved going to the perfume shop at Nordstrom's at the Mall of America. And I had a friend there, and we would just sit there and smell perfumes, and and I would tell him of all this stuff, and I would say, "Let's come to the mall with me. Like, we can go through the back entrance." And he was so traumatized that he never did.
Really?
And I guess he went, and the whole mall followed him. I mean. So to have that stress, even being local, but then, we would go to the grocery store in Chanhassen. We'd go at weird hours, but we would go, and some of the people, but then some people would just go, "Oh, it's just him." And I think that's why he liked where he lived, because they were used to him.
Right.
I mean, he had the crazy cars, the electric blue car. I had a pink BMW, the cars that you just don't, but when you're there local, you're like, "Oh, that's just him." Whatever. It's him.
Right.
So that's why he loved it so much, because I did witness going to Atlanta. I did witness, I mean, we flew normal commercial airlines. So, and this is before September 11th, we'd get checked in. We'd just literally get out of the car, get in the little cart to go to the gate, be the last one on the plane, be the first one out. And, I saw how people acted, and I get why he lived in Minnesota, because they were used to him.
Right.
So, and
very fascinating stuff. And and look, good luck to you the rest of the way. The Live for Love charities. So it's the number 4 lovecharities.org. And if you want to donate, Mayte, great talking to you. Thanks.
Likewise.
And
thank you.
Such a huge fan of Prince, and the most beautiful girl in the world. I think that's crazy that such a huge song written about you. That can't get old. It can't ever get old for you, because that's very, very cool. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have a good day. Bye-bye.
You too.
It's just a pretty crazy story how Mayte grew up. Her dad was in the military. They moved around. She basically had her formative years in Germany, and belly dancer. Her mother was a dancer, but nobody was very supportive of that when she was younger. But they supported Mayte and her love of belly dancing, which was actually her very first job. She said, I helped my grandmother out once, a couple times at a souvenir shop that she had in an airport in Puerto Rico. And she would cash people out and wrap their souvenirs up and put them in the bag. But other than that, her very first job was as a belly dancer. And interestingly enough, she's, now involved in Prince's charities, but also has a 501c3, a charitable organization, a rescue for animals. And she said that, today, she wishes she would have gone to college. She would have been a veterinarian. She said she would have pursued that as a career looking back. So it seemed like her parents were fans of Prince, right? And they wanted to get him a tape of her belly dancing. And they managed to do that. So when Mayte is 16 years old, Prince kind of gets a hold of her and they meet up backstage at one of the shows in Germany. She's 16. He keeps in contact with her until she's 18. Then she joins the new power generation and becomes intimate with Prince. The whole thing sounds really crazy, but they fell in love and got married, and of course famously went on Oprah Winfrey to discuss her then pregnancy with Prince's child and that whole cover-up. There was a miscarriage. It was a real heavy, real deep situation. She wrote an autobiography, The Most Beautiful, My Life with Prince. It came out back in 2017, and just recently was on the news and quoted a bunch of times concerning the 10th anniversary of Prince's passing. And she talked that she never saw him do drugs. He never drank alcohol, never smoked marijuana. When he OD'd that one time and he said he took too much aspirin, she said she believed him. So a lot more on their life together in her autobiography. And just a few more things I wanted to say about Prince. I thought it was interesting that she said she never called him by his name. And I wish she would have told us, like, maybe the pet name that she had for him. I mean, it would have been great if she said something like Snugglepuss or something crazy like that. But I think what we could take out of, like, I asked her, tell us about maybe a moment and how Prince really was. I think he lived a really lonely life. And she talked about how crazy it was to, go out in public. Living in Minnesota was, his safe space. People didn't go like absolutely batshit crazy when he showed up in public. And, he would go to the grocery store. They would show up at odd hours, she mentioned, but he would kind of go out in Minnesota, where in other places while traveling, she said they flew commercial. I couldn't believe that. People would absolutely lose their mind, and that made him very anxious to be out in the open. So it seems like he lived a very secluded and lonely life, which, is pretty sad. And of course, Prince, really philanthropic kind of guy, and all these charities that he has, Mayte helps run them to this day. Live for Love Charities. That's live, the number 4, lovecharities.org. If you want to investigate further and perhaps donate. I mean, if her parents didn't help her get this belly dancing tape to Prince, would she have met him? Would she have been in the new power generation? Would she have married him? I mean, there's so many different layers to this story. I mean, we might never have heard of her. She might have become a veterinarian or a working belly dancer. I guess we'll never know. And, he did write the song, The Most Beautiful Girl in the World, about her. Thanks so much for checking out another episode of the Celebrity Jobber Podcast, streaming on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you listen to podcasts. Please subscribe. Would love a 5-star rating, and if you could, please leave a review. Back to past guests and episodes, if you want to check them out, online at celebrityjobber.com. 10 years since the passing of Prince Rogers Nelson, musical genius. And his former wife, Mayte Garcia, tells us a little bit about her story, which I thought was excellent. Once again, thank you for listening. I'm Jeff Zito, and see you next week with another episode of the Celebrity Jobber Podcast. I'll see you then.